feel great about giving to the JDRF because we can really truly see the results of our financial investment. Every year, the advancements in research. We find our motivation for working with the JDRF simply by looking at the families that are devastated by this disease and how they battle it every single day.
Mitchell, when he was born, was an amazing little guy. He was so happy and so smiley.
From the time he was first born, Mitchell was a very easygoing and mellow and happy baby. And throughout that summer, we had noticed some changes in kind of his general health and well-being.
He was waking up shaky from his naps, and I would give him a snack and the shakes would subside. We just kind of thought maybe he was becoming a little hypoglycemic. A snack would take care of it. If that seemed to help, let's just go with that. It was the plan.
I had been out of town on a 6-day trip and returned. And when you have a problem that develops kind of gradually like that, if you're there as it develops, it's not quite as noticeable. But when you leave for the better part of a week and it has continued to degenerate, and you come back and grab this baby and go, there's something wrong with this baby.
We took him in again, and they said, no, he's fine, it's probably teething. So then we waited a few more days, and it had gotten so bad. So we had my dad, who's a type 2, come over and brought his blood glucose meter, and we checked Mitchell's number at the house.
When the meter said critical, out of range, his blood glucose was so high it was outside of what the machine was calibrated to read. We took him to Children's Hospital in Minneapolis.
I was driving the car, and it was awful. It was heartbreaking. I wanted to keep turning around and look at him. My fear at this point was he was going to close his eyes, and I did not want him to close his eyes. We had suffered a very, very heartbreaking miscarriage in our family. So here I was 3 months later, driving my 16-month-old, and I was not gonna let another little one and to think that something could happen to another one of your children, you don't want to think about it. And you want to do anything you can as a parent to keep them safe. I really had no idea what was going to be our new life.
This is not something that's going to be better in 2 weeks. This is a lifelong management kind of, it's a tough road to hoe for this kid.
We learned that all of these things were going to now keep our son alive, and we had to do it right. So we learned that every time we looked at food, we had to think numbers. We're so grateful for all the research that has been done and is continuing to be done, funded by JDRF.
People will talk about the good old days and go, oh, wasn't it better at this time, where their life was simpler? But it wasn't. I think if I was born 100 years ago, I would have a gravestone to visit, and not a healthy kid up in a bed.
I did not think that every time our family was going to make a meal, we were going to worry about writing down carbs. When Mitchell was diagnosed, I didn't know that every time he got sick, I would be staying up checking ketones every single night just to make sure he was okay. Right now, Mitchell has a whole team of people looking after him. He's got nurses at school, he has 2 parents at home, he has grandparents, and he's very willing to go through all of the day-to-day needs, but he always has people reminding him and checking him. And so what scares me is I don't ever want him to feel that he's alone. I don't ever want him to feel like he's in this alone, because he won't be. But I think when you're doing this and it's a 24/7, 365 days a year, there's a lot of times where you just want to say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, Wade and I are honored and humbled by this award and appreciative. We feel this award goes to all of those families, near and far, affected with type 1 diabetes.
On the cure for diabetes.